what is the intersection of ray FG? So what you might want to do is just highlight over the top. So FG is going off in that direction, right? And GF I'm going to put under, so that's going off in this direction. So when things intersect, they overlap with each other. When roads they overlap. So if you look at where the green and the pink overlap, where do they overlap? They overlap from F to G, which is a line segment. So alphabetically, FG. That's where they intersect. All right. And finally, third page, sketch two planes that do not intersect and have a line that intersects each plane in one point. Okay, so the way we draw planes that do not intersect is usually that we try to show like one is above the other. So, and we're drawing a parallelogram, and so there's one. So there's a plane. So one of the things you want to do in math is what some students do. They feel like, well, I don't know, and so they don't start the problems. Get the problem started. Do something. A plane. At least draw one plane. There's one plane. Now you have to draw a second plane. So the second plane, usually we try to draw it like this, so that it's kind of underneath the other one. So it looks like one's above the other one. So we would say those two planes don't intersect. We're trying to show that. Now, we need a line that intersects each plane at only one point. Now, what I would normally do is I would just draw it piercing through each one. So there's one. And when it hits the plane, it's going to poke a hole in it, like the pen through a piece of paper. And then behind there, we're not going to be able to see it, so that would be a little bit of a dotted line, although not much there. And then when it comes here, we could see it, and it would go down to here. And then it would pierce that plane. And then there would be a dotted line behind there, and then it would pick up from here. Okay, so it's even hard. I barely left enough room here for a dot. I should have moved that up there, but that's one way to do it. Another kind of sneakier way to do it, maybe, if you're worried about the dotted line part, is you could just draw a line like this. I don't like that as much because it implies that the plane kind of has a corner. And remember, a plane, maybe I didn't say it earlier, just like a line is infinite, a line goes on forever, a plane goes on forever. So you need to imagine that that flat surface is continuing forever. So that's why I don't like the purple line as much. So if you understand the red line there, don't even draw the purple line at all. That's better. Okay, so this is usually a test question. It gives some students some problems. So again, alphabetical if possible. If possible. Okay, so name the intersection of these things. So line AB, and now this is going to get too messy if I highlight the whole thing, but so line AB and plane P. So line AB is right there, and plane P. So if you think about that, that's like the pen piercing the paper, so it's going through at G. So it's just point G. Again, pause the video and try to do some of this stuff. Line segment EF and plane P. Well, if this pen is a line segment and it's resting on my hand, where does the pen intersect my hand? Well, everywhere where the pen exists. The entire pen is touching my hand. You got to imagine it's just a line that's not three-dimensional. Okay? So that's the whole line segment. That's the whole line segment. Okay.
Good afternoon. May I have your
Well, there's
attention?
the bell.
The alarm will
how well you can hear that, but that was an announcement that I have to leave school. All right, so ray EF, ray EF. So we start at E and we go towards F. So that's another one of these. We just did one of these, I think, on the other side. And FG is over here. And so where are they intersecting? They're intersecting also at segment EF. Alphabetical order, be careful. Plane P and point E. Where does plane P intersect point E? At point E. Point E is on the plane, it's sitting right there. Now, this gets a little bit trickier here. Plane P and plane BFG. So BFG, is that triangle. And if you imagine that triangle expanding, it already has a side that's on line EF. So as that triangle expands, where is that triangle intersecting plane P right now? It's intersecting at segment FG. So if the triangle gets bigger, it's going to get bigger along that line on both sides. So when you think about two planes intersecting, when two planes intersect, they form a line. Like if you look in your room, if you look at one of the walls and the ceiling, when the wall and the ceiling meet, it forms a line. You might have some spider webs up there maybe or something. So they're going to form a line, and the line that we're going to get is line EF. Okay, that's an important test question, so you might need to go over that again. And when you do your assignments, make sure you look for questions. When we say that there's something in the notes, it's like a test question, look for that in the assignment. Make sure. Okay, real quick, let's finish this up. You can put a tab on your notes to study. So if you have a Post-it handy, the smaller ones work really nice for this. But because I said this is an important test question right here, what you can do is put a little Post-it on there. And I probably would trim that a little bit. It's sticking out a ways. And so then I really know that to go back. Now you don't have to have that because you can just flip through the pages and see the yellow highlighting. But having a Post-it tab on there can help find important examples. All right. And so last question. Look in your book when you need help also. The book has explanations and pictures and other examples that you can also look at. Okay. This is from some test. I can't remember what the test was, but determine which of the following represents a geometric. So remember what we said about geometric sequences. So R means review, so this is a review question. So geometric means if we're multiplying or dividing by the same number. So if we look at this pattern here, to go from 1/4 to 1/4, maybe you think, well, maybe we're multiplying by a half. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4, but 1/4 times a half is an eighth. So that's not working there. The gaps aren't the same. Now here, that hopefully you recognize that pattern pretty quickly. That's multiply by 1/3. So that's exactly what geometric is. And then it's good on multiple choice questions to check the other two, because maybe we made a mistake here. And so maybe one of these is right, and if we see that it's right, then we know to go back and check that. Now, multiplying by the same number. Now, these are all negative. If we were multiplying by a negative number, that would alternate the sign. So we're not multiplying by a negative number. We could multiply by a positive. Times 2. -1 times 2 is -2. -2 times 2 is -4. So that's not going to work. And this looks like it's adding 2, which is arithmetic. So that concludes that lesson. We want to, on multiple choice questions, check all the choices. All right, that's it.